Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Sonder Social. For folks who are new, welcome. This is my first Sonder Social of 2024. Um, Not my first Sonder Social, but definitely my first one of the year. And oh my gosh, Christine, it is all lighting. It is. I was in my little cave and I fished out my light, so because it was too dark in here. But thank you. Make sure to set your chat to everyone before we get started for folks that are new. We have folks dialing in from all over. We got a huge group with us tonight. So I'm really, really excited for this social. This is one of my favorite socials to walk everyone through because we're going to get into Ikigai, which is such a fun activity to do together, especially at the start of the new year. So I'm really excited that you're here with me. And joining me is the one and the only Jennifer Krippner. She's popping on to wave you a big hello. She'll be there in the chat with us, and she's going to help answer any questions you might have. And we will get through this hour together and do a lot of self-reflection as we set our goals and intentions for the new year. Before we get started, is I do see some familiar names in the chat, but if you are new, go ahead and type "I'm new" in the chat. I want to see who's new. I just want to give a huge welcome to folks that are new. Amazing! Oh my gosh, we have so many new folks. The chat is going crazy. I love it. Wonderful. Welcome to everyone who is new. I'm so excited you joined a Sonder Social, and I'm honored that I'm your first one. I love Sonder Socials. I know folks here. There's a lot of folks that are returning. They love Sonder Socials just as much as I do, and I'm so excited you've joined me this evening. We will get started. There's a lot to go through, so let's go ahead and get started. And we will start with, since we do have a lot of new folks, I'll just run through the guidelines, the community guidelines. Just as a reminder for folks who are returning, and for new folks, be kind to courteous to yourself and others. No promo or spams in the chat. Respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. If there's any product or accessory questions or any customer care questions, forward that to hello@silkensonder.com. And just remember, these Sonder socials are the way for all of us to connect. This is essentially what you get out of your journals. You get a huge, amazing, incredible community. And we are so excited to have you. And this is kind of the way we all connect with each other and get the most out of our journals. But let's go ahead and get started. So let's start talking about this month's theme. So I love this month's theme of ambition. I think it couldn't be a more fitting term for me because there's a lot of things that I need to do for myself, just with my career and all the goals that I have for the year. And I really think of ambition can be applied not only to your career, but it could be applied to your personal life. It could be applied to whatever sphere you want to focus on. So ambition to me is really setting out your goals and focusing on reaching those goals, and that drive, that thing within you, which is that ambition within you, is what helps you kind of work towards those goals. And I know a lot of folks at Silk and Sonder are very goal oriented. That's why you have the journal. That's why you spend time journaling. We all have our own goals. So I love that we're starting off this year strong. And I am excited to kind of dive into the activity. So I'll run through the agenda for this social. We'll start off with an opening activity, and it'll just be about ambition. And then we'll move on to setting up our gratitude log on page 13. And then we'll reserve most of the social to Ikigai, because there is a lot to go through. It's a great exercise that will help us kind of figure out our true purpose. And I'm very, very excited to walk through it with all of you. So we'll go ahead and start off with the opening activity. Um, okay, so for the opening activity, you can either use your journals and turn to a blank page within your January journal, or you can flip to just any scratch paper, or if you have a thoughts journal, you can use one of those pages and do this activity. But basically, what we want to start off with is drawing yourself as a superhero. So if you can't draw, that's totally fine. Maybe you want to describe what you look like. You don't have to draw if you don't feel like drawing. You can stick, yeah. Lindsay said it best. You can stick figure it. I love that idea. It's all about the exercise. So draw yourself as a superhero. Think about what you look like. Do you have a mask on? Do you have a cape on? Do you like what does your outfit look like? What's your gear? Is there anything else you have on you? And what is your mission? Think about as a superhero, what is your mission? And as once you start defining what you are, who you are as a superhero, throughout this month, you can kind of think about that superhero as you're going through and kind of carving out your ambitions for the year. So I'll give you all a few minutes to draw or describe yourself as a superhero and tell us in the chat what your mission is and what you look like. All right. Thank you all for sharing your superheroes and what they look like and what your mission is. So fun to read through. There's just so many incredible folks here with me tonight. So I'm very honored to be around all of you superheroes. We will now move on to the gratitude log. So go ahead and flip to page 13. So for page 13, you'll see this almost like a sun. I like to call it a sun. It's not a sun, but whatever. I call it a sun. And I love this page because it's good to start off with some gratitude, especially in the beginning of the year. It's always fun to kind of jot down. You can set it up so you write something out every day, so you could definitely do that. But if you'd like to just write out 31 things that you are grateful for, you can already get started. You can definitely fill it out to completion here as well, or at least get it started. I just want to showcase a few examples of gratitude logs that folks have shown in Sonder Club, so you can definitely see how people play with color. You can just write it out like in cursive. You can definitely have fun with color. And here are some other ways. Maybe you just want to just put a colored marker over the rays, or I keep saying it's a sun, whatever. But you can definitely get creative with it. And there's a lot of things that you can kind of write through. I typically just write out like a phrase. And a lot of folks are saying in the chat they do it daily. That's a great idea. So you can definitely do it daily. I'll give you all a few minutes to set up your gratitude logs for folks who do want to kind of set it up ahead of time and start writing out. And then we will regroup in a little bit. I just wanted to pop on. I also have some examples here of categories to help jog some ideas for different things that you could be grateful for. They're pretty like vague, so they're not super specific, but just to help jog some memory for folks who are struggling to think of something to be grateful for. All right. Sounds like folks are setting up their gratitude logs, which is great. We will now move on to the next activity, which is Ikigai. So, let's all turn to page 21, for Ikigai. I'm gonna chat through what Ikigai is. We're gonna walk through it together. This is probably can be a little difficult because there's a Venn diagram. There's so much happening, but we're gonna break it down and we're gonna make it a little bit more kind of step by step together. So we'll first talk about what Ikigai is, and then we'll talk about each of the spheres, and then we'll move on to finding those intersection points of passion, mission, vocation, and profession. And what I love about this activity is this is such a fun this is such a fun way to figure out our true purpose. And what I love is I see folks have said that they've done this activity in the past. Some folks have. And what I love is because we evolve so much and we grow as individuals, our ikigai can evolve as well. So it'll be good to see how what you love has changed, what you're good at may have changed, and then in turn those intersections, the passion, mission, vocation, and profession also evolves as well. So all right, everyone, take a deep breath. We're gonna you're gonna hear me talk a lot, and then I'm gonna give you some time to work as well. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about Ikigai. Okay, so what is Ikigai? The concept of Ikigai is said to have evolved from the basic health and wellness principles of traditional Japanese medicine. And the tradition holds that physical well being is affected by one's mental and emotional health and sense of purpose in life. So basically, Ikigai is a state of well being that arises from devotion to activities that one enjoys. So that brings that sense of fulfillment. And pursuing activities that really produce enjoyment and a sense of mastery is a specific way to alleviate any kind of negative thoughts. So it's directly kind of is defined as a reason to get up in the morning or waking up to joy. So I love that concept. It's our kind of what's keeping us going, and what is our ikigai, and it definitely is different from person to person. And this is kind of the like way we figure out what our ikigai is. And it seems like a lot. It seems like there's just a lot of pressure on this, but it definitely is fun to do. And think about kind of what that flow is. So, flow can occur when you're consistently doing something that you love and that you're good at, with the possible added benefit of bringing value to other people's lives. So, flow can be seen as being in tune with your ikigai or activities that give your life meaning and purpose. So, it's important to note that ikigai doesn't only refer to one's personal purpose and fulfillment in life without regard to kind of society at large. So it's a little bit of like inner self, but also how the world kind of is also impacted at the same time, and kind of your relationship to the world as well as the relationship of the world on you. So with that said, we'll first talk through the let's see, the different dimensions. So we have what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. So this is kind of the four spheres that you see on the outer edge of the Venn diagram on page 21. And I will walk us through kind of what each of these dimensions mean. And so, what we'll do initially, again, like if you have a scratch paper nearby, or if you want to use a blank page in your notebook for this first first part of Ikigai, go ahead and kind of grab that. And I would divide up the page into four. So here is, I just used the page right behind it for mine. So just kind of jotting down what I love, what the world needs, what I'm good at, and what I can be paid for. And then I'll walk you through kind of what each of these spheres mean. So you can see kind of an overview of what these are. And it can be really any it make sure it doesn't have to be in the realm of career, right? So what you love can also include things that don't necessarily equate to your career. Just think of these as individual sections, and you can obviously see those relations afterwards. So this is honestly kind of like a brainstorming session before we get into the passion, the mission, vocation, and profession. So yes, you can, Elizabeth, you can definitely use page 21 if you want to jot it around. You don't have to do this on a blank page. This is just how I did it, just so I can get some space. I just still like cramming everything. But I will walk us through each of the spheres. So the first sphere is what you love. So this sphere includes what we do or experience that brings us the most joy in life and makes us feel most alive and fulfilled. So, what we love in the sense may be sailing or writing poetry or rock climbing or whatever it may be, reading novels, just spending leisure time with friends. What fills your cup? Think about what provides love for you. And it doesn't have to disregard whether you're good at it, whether the world needs it, what you can get paid for, just what makes you happy, what truly makes you happy. Some things I jot down were being challenged, seeing my work reflected in a tangible way, talking to people, having meaningful conversation, dressing up and putting my makeup on, dinner parties. I love wine tasting, cleaning up my workspace, a great playlist. So literally, it can just be a bulleted version of what you love. Then for what you're good at, this sphere is skills that you've acquired, whether it's hobbies you've pursued, talents you've shown at an early age. It could be public speaking, playing the piano, being an empathetic person. If you're an artist, painting portraits, whatever it may be, think about what you're good at. What skills have you acquired in your lifetime? And then for the third dimension, that is what the world needs. The world can be defined as humanity as a whole, but it could also be defined as maybe your community that you are most connected with. So it could be maybe a community in your town, it could be a community that you're a part of, but it could also be a little bit more macro and be the world at large. So you can define kind of what that community is for you and think about what the world needs, what that community needs based on your impressions or needs that have been expressed by others. So think about what the world needs. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you're good at or what you love, but think about those things that the world needs. I know there's a lot that the world needs, so this section can get long, but just start jotting down what you think the world needs. And then for the last section is what you can get paid for. So think about, we all have skills and things that we like, but what can we get actually paid for? So think about how we can kind of like monetize what we can actually truly get paid for. What career paths can we go down? And obviously with our new world, there's a lot of things that you can get paid for. You just have to maybe think about it, sit down, think about it. So maybe it's opening like an Etsy shop if you're very, very creative and you have a lot of kind of like crafts that you want to share with the world, you can get paid for that in that way. Maybe it's starting your own business. Maybe it's your knowledge about something specific in an industry that you can get paid for it. So think about kind of your career in reflection. Maybe it's something that you've done in the past. Think about different ways you have been able to get paid. So with that, I kind of rambled, but I'll give you all some time to brainstorm each of these fears, and then we'll come together in a few minutes and we will discuss kind of how we can find those intersection points and kind of drill down on our passion, mission, vocation, and profession. All right, I'll give you all a few minutes. And if you have any questions, just type in the chat. All right. I hope everyone had some time to jot down kind of some bullets or phrases for each of these spheres. So now we get to kind of bring it all together and chat about how we can find relationships and intersections between something that we love and what the world needs, what we're good at, and what we can get paid for, so that we can find kind of our passion, our mission, our vocation, and our profession. So, we will now move on to kind of those boxes that you have, but you can also use your kind of your brainstorm session as a way to help you identify those intersection points. So you'll definitely use both. For these sections, I'm going to walk us through kind of what the passion, mission, profession, vocation are, because we often use these terms interchangeably. And at the so I'll walk us through what each of these means. So at the intersection of what you love and what you're good at is your passion. So your passion is a strong feeling of enthusiasm or excitement for something or doing something. At the intersection of what you love and what you need, of what you love and what the world needs is your mission. So your mission describes what we do, how we do it. It identifies the benefits we deliver from our each of our endeavors. It describes us in the present, it describes our purpose, our true North Star that points us to the future. So think of that as like your kind of like your mission. What is something that you are trying to accomplish? All right. Now, at the intersection of what the world needs and what you can get paid for is your vocation. So, your vocation is a job or calling in doing a particular kind of work. So, it's work that one does because of a feeling of deep affinity, attraction, and or talent. So, it's really focusing on what you can be paid for and what the world needs. So think about what things are in our world that needs solving or needs someone to kind of help with, and what can you also get paid for. So that is your vocation. Now, at the intersection of what you're good at and what you can get paid for is your profession. So, your profession is a job that you consciously adopt and study. It typically refers to your intellectual pursuits, which involve kind of a recognized qualification, whether it be teaching. But I know oftentimes profession and vocation get kind of overlapped. And it's almost like what you're good at, and sorry, what you are good at and what you can be paid for. So that is kind of the intersection that we're focusing on. So even if you're retired, I think you can take this in a different direction. So maybe even if it's not your quote unquote career goals, you can think about kind of maybe there's something else, right? Profession. I know typically once you're retired, you're not focused so much on the monetary aspect of it, but there's always something else, right? There's something more. And you can kind of figure out what that next step is for you. And it can obviously not have to relate to your career if you want to think about something and change the chapter a little bit. So you really have how you have a blank slate. So I'll walk through kind of the different definitions of what passion, mission, profession, and vocation are. And they all come together to form Ikigai. And Ikigai is, a state of being, which may be difficult for some of us to embody at times, but it also represents hope to lead a more fulfilling life and the way that only you can define it. So it has both a personal pursuit and a benefit to others. And it really brings meaning and purpose and fulfillment to your life, while also contributing to the good of others. So, I'll give you all some time. I do want to also share with you some examples of folks who have filled out their Ikigai, just so you can see what they look like. They all look different. Okay, so the fair warning, they all look different. The contents of Ikigai are honestly so personal that seeing examples is not super helpful, but I do want to give you an example so that you can see what a filled out Ikigai looks like. And then I'll give you all the remainder of the hour to kind of work on your Ikigai before we wrap. So these are some examples. So some folks kind of ditch the pages completely and form, their own Ikigai so that they have a little bit more space. And then here you can see people are writing in margins. It can be, a strong phrase of your passion, your mission, vocation, and profession. It can be bulleted. It can really be whatever. It can be an intention. Maybe it's an I, or it starts off like an affirmation, or it can be a really strong statement. You can also see different ways that people have done it. You can see some people really did bullet it out, but there's a lot of different ways you can kind of take this in different directions. So I will give you all some time to work on your Ikigai, and discover what those statements are for you. And I will check back in a little bit. All right. This was such a fun, great social. I know Ikigai can be tricky, and I appreciate you all for giving it a chance. These are not easy exercises, but these are great ways for us to shed light on our lives and identify kind of what is our true purpose. What can we kind of think about our life a little bit more holistically and identify where we're going or what direction is are we headed down and what trajectory we want to go towards. And the beauty of this is it's so individual, and everyone's so unique that it's so beautiful to see kind of what your true purpose is. And it's also fun to kind of do this exercise periodically to identify if your purpose has changed or not. And that's also kind of part of life as we go through it. So, thank you all so much for staying with us and being a part of our Ikigai and gratitude log, Sonder Social. This was such a fun social to kick off the year. And I'm so excited that for folks who are new, thank you so much for joining. Make sure to share your pages. If you can see, I pulled Ikigai examples from Sonder Club. So make sure to share those pages. If you didn't finish, that's totally fine. You can always share in the club once you're finished. And here are some QR codes. We have the referral program going on. So if you love Silk and Sonder and the journals are working for you and you have someone in your life that would love it too, go ahead and take advantage of that referral program. Also, if you are on a monthly subscription or like a quarterly subscription, think about maybe if the annual subscription makes sense for you, you could save a ton of money. And then also we have the feedback survey, which also houses all of any feedback that you may have for us. These programs are to serve the community. So if you have any ideas or feedback of what you want to see more of, go ahead and make sure to fill out that survey. And last but not least, we have the YouTube link, I think, in the chat. I think Jennifer has already dropped it. So the YouTube link is a direct link that houses all of our past socials. So if you're curious to see some past social content, go ahead and check out that page for all those event recordings. But thank you all so much for spending this hour with me, showing up for yourselves. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Goodbye, everybody.
Turn it inside out so I can see the part of you that's drifting over me. And when I wake, you're never there. And when I sleep, you're everywhere. You're everywhere. Just tell me how I got this far. Tell me why you're here and who you are. 'Cause every time I look, you're never there. And every time I sleep, you're always there. 'Cause you're everywhere to me. And when I close my eyes, it's you I see. You're everything I know that makes me believe. touch your hand, it's that I understand the beauty that's within. It's now that we begin. You always light my way. I hope there never comes a day, no matter where I go, I always feel you so. 'Cause you're everywhere to me. And when I close my eyes, it's you I see. You're everything I know that makes me believe I'm not alone. 'Cause you're everywhere to me. When I catch my breath, it's you I breathe. You're everything I know that makes me believe I'm not alone. You're in everyone I see.